Zane,
How you guys doing?
what is going on, man?
Excellent.
What where are we catching you right now? What brewery are you visiting?
I mean, I'm home.
Oh.
I'm
Oh,
home. I'm home for a minute, so I'm on the road. Are we going? Is this it? Is this
Oh,
happening?
we're going.
Okay,
no.
cool. I'm I've been I'm on the road every week, doing stand
Right.
up. So I last year or the years before, I used to try to it's like if I'm flying to Texas and I'm doing a show Friday, Saturday, I might as well stay Sunday. And then if I'm staying Sunday, I might as well just stay there and then do another show on Wednesday. If I'm doing Wednesday, I might as well do Tuesday. And so I would do however the math works out, it was like 10 shows in 11 days. And then I'd come home for 3 days and then head back out. But I'm changing it up this year. I only have two versions of that trip because I'm in LA right now. So when I go to the Boston area, I'm there for 11 days. And when I go to DC area, I'm there for 11 days. And then Florida. But for
Mhm.
the rest of them, I'm just pretty much flying in on Thursday, doing a show Friday and Saturday, and then heading back. So I'm headed to Austin tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then the following week I'm in the DC area, going to some great places. A Dogfish Head will be there. So
Yeah, I saw
uh,
that
Love that
on your
place.
schedule. Yeah. I'm curious, I've had the pleasure of opening up for you twice on your gigs here in New Jersey. Um you like this brewery doing the breweries now. You've been able to do this now for quite a few years. I'm curious, like, does your audience still like really just want like alcohol related jokes, or like or do you find that they want that shtick forever?
and that's a very good question, especially the way that you asked it, because when I started doing stand up
Yep.
5 years ago, coming out of COVID, I hadn't really done stand up before. I did a tour for Drinking Made Easy when I did the first season of Drinking Made Easy, where I did in 87 days, I did 51 stand up shows at venues pretty big, like the size of House of Blues and stuff. And then I also shot 24 episodes of TV in that same time period. It was insane. And so in my mind, I needed to choose. I chose TV. Now, in retrospect, I probably could have just staggered those and kept that going, but that was more of I call that one a drunken TED talk, because I had a monitor, like a big screen behind me and stuff that was going along with it, and some props and things and it was educate, it was entertainment, but there was also some takeaway with
Yeah.
when I went on the road for the first year in 2021. So in 2021, coming out of COVID, I reached out, or my team, we reached out to the comedy clubs and the theaters in the beginning of 2021, and none of them were even planning on opening that year. And we had so many false starts, they just didn't know what to do. Didn't want to commit, but the breweries, like most businesses, took a hit, and they welcomed live entertainment. And so I just went out there and just started doing stand up, and even figuring out how do you even start, how do you go and do an hour stand up with an hour set you've never performed. And so
Mhm.
I have a fire pit by my house, and I just used to have groups of people between 6 and 10 people come, and I did maybe 10 of these things at my house, where friends would come, friends of friends. It was still COVID, so it was outside, but it's California, so it was nice and warm. And sit by the fire pit, and I would run through my stand up. And so I at least had the opportunity to just read it out loud 10 times and get an idea of what was working, what wasn't. And then that year, most of the stand up was about 3 sheets, where I traveled around the world drinking. and
Yep.
and so I did with that 50 episodes. And then the next year, it was a hybrid of half 3 sheets, half Drinking Made Easy. Maybe
Hmm.
80% drinking stuff. And then the third year, I'm in the fifth year now. The third year, it was 50%. Last year, it was probably about 30%. And now, of my stand up,
Yep.
me referring to drinking stuff and the shows that I did, it's 10%. and it's the minimal amount that I need to do for people who come there as a fan of the show and they kind of just want a little bit of that. And honestly, they're good stories. It's good stand up. I mean, like
Sure.
Scott, you
Mm.
saw different iterations of it. You know, like you
Mhm.
saw me. I think did you open for me in like 2022 or
Good things.
2021?
I
Like,
don't know. It might have been like 1 and 3 or something when you, because it was at the
yeah,
same
I think it
venue. So
was.
I
I think it
came.
was 1 and 3.
Mm,
So you saw like one version,
mhm.
you know, and then you saw the next version, and I'm this is you know I'm doing 120 shows a year, and I'm trying to not trying to I'm constantly evaluating the show to make it better and better, and the objective is like to switch the script from being the guy who did those drinking shows, Three Sheets and Drinking Made Easy, who's now doing stand up,
Yep.
to a comedian who used to do these shows.
Yep.
Mm.
Because that's the goal right now. Like now I'm a comedian. You know, I'm a stand up comedian. I've done 630 breweries at this
Yeah.
point.
Well,
Wow.
I'm out there all year long. So
well, I was gonna say,
long
like,
answer to a short question.
do you think your like your time in like TV and production and all that, because like helped you develop these shows? Because working with you, I was highly impressed how like everything was like a well-run machine. Like it was like, okay, the
Mhm.
merch was here. You guys had a great recording setup. You had figured out the setups with the stage and where the seats are, and I really liked
Mhm.
all that. And like, I'm curious, like, did you know about that when you started these tours, or did you have that
Um,
like just
I'm kind of I'm like a details guy, especially when it comes to um the the experience. So in my shows, like if someone was carrying on about like, oh, we have this vodka that's distilled for 7 times and filtered, 7 times, and our competition they only filter it 4 times. I would just be like, stop. Like, I'm not using this. Like, I don't
yeah,
care about your rhetoric, dude. Just like, let's just
Mm.
have some fun. Like, I'm trying to I'm also trying to not, in those shows, entertainment was first, education was second.
yeah,
So for me on these shows, which by the way, thank you for the compliment of noticing all the attention that goes into the detail.
I
But
loved it.
like
Yeah,
it's every single night we're like, how can we make this experience better for people? And and then also, yes, for my production side, it's like I want the lighting to look amazing. I want the audio to be crisp so everyone in the whole place can hear it. We're recording every night, so if we're recording, then we got to bring colored lights to light the background and stuff. So it's been growing. Like every single show you go, this is what we could have done different. And at this point, 600 shows in, and at the end of each year, I'm doing an Amazon special. So
yep,
that the secret sauce of that is like I'm using my money to record those specials. The very first special I did, so after the first year, I'm like, I'm about to go out and do a completely new hour, and so I don't want to just throw away this material that I've honed in, and so I recorded it as a special. No one wanted to buy it because no one had seen it, no one knew what I was doing, and so I had one Bitcoin that at the time was probably worth like $35,000 or something like that, and I just got rid of one Bitcoin and financed my stand up
oh
special.
nice.
Mm.
And then yeah, it might be nicer to have that Bitcoin right now, but
Yeah,
um
you can do
but
three.
but
You
it's
can do three
also
more.
like, hey, yeah. So every year I've learned how to do the same thing, but cut that cost in half. Like the last one I did probably cost me like 12 grand. So I've done 3 specials, um and put them on Amazon. And I want people to understand that it's, like it's an interesting thing to watch. If you go and watch like Tender Looks, that's the first one I did. And then you go watch Ski Patrol, that's the second one I did. You can see it. You can see like, wow, I can see what he learned. And then if you go watch Medium Club, it's the third one I did. You're like, okay, I see where he's going, both visually and also story wise. Like like it's people call it like JPM or LPM, like jokes per minute or laughs per minute.
Right.
You can't have
Mm.
this huge exposition in this story where there's just one laugh at the end,
Right.
And so now I know how to tighten everything up to make it actual stand up where it's the whole thing is funny. You're not listening to a boring story to get to like a punchline, which I think year one it was like, oh, I'm a storyteller, and meanwhile it's like, nah, you can work on that. All those stories could have been better if
Yeah.
you just tighten them up
Yep.
and found the
Yep.
jokes inside of them.
Exactly. Sure.
Yep. 2017 and 2022 were two interviews, so probably 2022 you opened for him, Scott.
Mhm.
With all the shows you've done and people seeing you drinking, do you find the audience is sometimes coming up to you and being like too offering, just like, oh, this is fun having a beer. You want some heroin or anything like that?
Well, you know, I do realize what the audience is, right? Like for some people, they're just like, I was the guy that normalized day drinking because
Mm.
that's what my shows were. I mean, I was drinking during the day, right? So like,
Yeah.
you know, we have other words for people who are continually drinking throughout the day. But and
Bert
so
Kreischer.
I think I normally they're called Scots anyway.
Yeah.
And so like I think at the end of the show, there's a lot of people who come up and are just like blasted, like they didn't even hear the show, like they were there, but they remembered nothing about it. But for the most part, no, it's people that are coming and enjoying the show. I have this one. I, I have to see if I can tell this in a concise way, but like I went and did a show at a brewery in Hershey, Pennsylvania, um, and it was called Inglewood Brewing. And I did a show, and we sold out, so we added a second show. So the first night I did the show. This guy comes up to the merch table and he's like, "Here," and he's like, his name was like Ben or something like that. And it was like Ben's gummies. He handed me like, "I'm Ben. These are my gummies." I'm like, "All right, cool." And so I got them. I get back to the hotel like at 10. I didn't even have a drive that night. I get like I just go back and go to bed. I get to watch a movie. Like usually we get in the car and we have to drive for 3 hours. And then, get to the hotel at 1 and then whatever. So I'm like, no, I get back to my hotel at 10. I'm hanging out. And so I was like, oh, let me just take one of these gummies,
Ben's gummies.
so I
Yeah.
take half. I'm like not an idiot. I take half and nothing really. Maybe 15, 20 minutes goes by, nothing. So I'm like, all right, let me take the other half of it. And I was like, um 20 minutes later, I am so uncomfortably high. I'm looking at my ceiling and I see the stars. I'm looking at a roof, but I can see the stars that are on the other side of the roof. Like I'm rubbing my eyes, blinking, looking away, looking back up, like, no, I can see them. Like I'm hallucinating. And every time I fell asleep, I have a panic attack and I'd wake up thinking that my heart was going to stop. I did not sleep that night. So the next day I go in to the brewery. I get there at like 4, and the owner's like, "Hey man, how you doing?" I'm like, "Man, can I take a nap in your office? I just need to like recharge." He's like, "Yeah, what happened?" I go, "I didn't sleep." "Why?" "Oh, I took these like gummies. "Oh, really? What'd you get?" He's, "Oh, Ben." He's like, "Oh, you took Ben's gummies?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Did you see space?" So, I don't know. But like it was like, all right, that's a long walk. But like, yeah, that has happened to me. Not heroin, but that whatever that fucking fentanyl laced weed that I took was wild. You think I learned, but I still take them, whatever people give me.
You working with you and watching you, like, you're very giving with your audience, whether it's hanging out and telling a story and like waiting people to take pictures and there's lines, and I find that like very cool. But I'm curious, like, does that even have to, like, is that a strength that like you think helps you sell these places out over and over again? Do you think it's part of the way you treat the audience afterwards,
You
beforehand?
know,
You're always doing kind of cool little in between
I
things.
appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate you noticing that. I mean, like I come out the VIPs, they pay a little more and they get first choice of seats. But I'm just like, I always feel like I want to give them something more than, and so like
Yeah.
I'm not okay with that, just that being the case, especially at the breweries. And so I was coming out and I was doing Q&A, which maybe you saw at some in the beginning. And it was so weird because you can't control the questions people ask.
Right.
So I couldn't like build that to a point where the energy is great. I leave stage, now everyone's partying, having a good time. Like I would like, all right, fine, one more question. And some guy's like, hey man, sorry to hear your dog died. I'm like,
Yeah, geez.
thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for putting me back in that headspace, or just like, oh, people be like, people are asking about like, oh, when you were in Hong Kong, what was it like, in this place, whatever, when you were doing a scene in Australia, what was it like? And then there'd be somebody like, so who are your comedy influences and what do you think you get from each one? I'm like, no, it's only because like,
Yep.
no, what am I doing? How? It's such a boring question. I'm trying to build the energy. So I changed it into drinking games. And I even have reordered those drinking games so that they build an energy, and they completely get the whole crowd like focused and in. And by the end, like everyone's cheering, and then the general admission come in intentionally at that moment so that the energy level is high. The music's now playing, and now people are like just super psyched for the show. And then I'll do the show, and then right after the show, I'll walk back to the merch table, and I will take photos and answer questions until every single person's gone. There's no time limit on it. But I would say that the last part is the most exhausting part of my day.
Sure. Yeah.
I would say the show is second. I'd say that the warm up is third, and then I'd say like the setup, like coming in and moving all the chairs and setting everything up, is like fourth. So it's like, it's a lot. I was telling my wife, I'm like, I think I'm ready to start doing clubs.
Yeah.
Where I don't have to move chairs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like set stuff up and clean. But I enjoy doing it. I also just feel like an obligation to it. Like I feel like I want to just like. One buddy was like, Greg Fitzsimmons, you maybe know, he's a comedian. He's like, I don't get it. There's no way I would come out before a show. Greg too, he's a little cantankerous. And he's like, there's no way I would come out before a show and do that. And I was like, oh no, I love it. I love every single aspect of it. They do take the wind out of me, but I love it. And I also just feel like I'm there to like give people the best show that I can. And so I have to, again, I don't have to, but I just feel like that's what that's about, is looking at every single aspect of it. Like you said before, just like looking at the way that people are sitting, making sure they're comfortable, making sure everyone can hear me and see me. And I set it up in such a way now so that like the stage is kind of almost in the middle of the room in a way. And then people are surrounding me so that, instead of having someone 15 rows away that feels completely disconnected from the show. Now, if I put myself in the center, that means there's no one more than 8 to 9 rows away, and now I can actually have conversations with people, which I do because it's fun and it's funny, but it's also because I don't want to do the same show every night. I also want to have fun, and so I want to learn about these people a little bit.
Yep.
As your goal is trying to be more known as a stand-up comedian versus the art stuff, do you find yourself pushing away from like podcast, music stuff, or do you still finding a balance where you can still do it but still hit the goals that you want to be?
It's so funny, you guys. Your questions are so good. It feels like you have been there. I mean, yeah, You're of course, you're exactly right. Like I do. So I do my on. So do you guys know who Barry Katz is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for people to know, he was a manager of like Dave Chappelle and Louis C.K. and Brad Williams and Dane Cook, and he's a legend as a manager. And I'm friends with him, and I said, hey, can I buy you lunch? He's like, I live in Malibu. You come out here, you can get as much time as you want. I'd love to have lunch with you. And so I went out there and talked to him for 2.5 hours. And after which he insisted he pay for lunch, which I was mad about. But, he said like, this conversation that you and I are having, that's the conversation that we had. And he's like, what's your goal? And, the comedy, all that kind of stuff. And he's like, what's your YouTube presence? What are you doing there? And I was like, well, I my podcast and some things, but like nothing consistent. And I'm not really doing my podcast right now, whatever. And he's like, okay, That's the number one thing. He's like, you have a network, you have your own TV network, your YouTube channel, and you need to be making a show. It doesn't matter what it is, but you need to make something that you love. Like if you could go and you could do any show you wanted on regular television, what would it be? And I said I would make a show where I did animal encounters and I got to teach people about animals and handle and meet some incredible animals. He's like, do it. That's it. I said, but that I'm the drinking guy, and my comedy isn't about animals. And I don't necessarily want it to be. And he's like, it doesn't matter. Just go make your TV show. That's a separate thing. And that was when the light bulb clicked right at the end of that meal. And I was like, oh my God, so stupid. I mean, like I'm on the road and everywhere that I am, there's a zoo or a rescue or something. And with videos that I've done that have done well in the past and my followers and all that kind of stuff, they all welcome me in, and I get to make these incredible videos. My average views on my animal videos is 1 million. It's actually closer to 2 million per video, and I put one up every Monday. Then on Tuesday, podcast that I'm restarting to something different, and then on Wednesday it's stand up. On Thursday, it's branded content. So whether it's about my book or just anything. And then on Friday, it's Three Sheets clips because it's the 20th anniversary of the launch of Three Sheets. And so I'm using this year to put out a new episode of Three Sheets in high def, remastered, like high def, more high def than anyone's ever seen it on YouTube. So one every week. So it's like this is my year. I got my book, I got Three Sheets, I got my tour, and this is like I've been putting in my hours, my time, and this is the year where I break out as a comedian. But I have to do all those things that you mentioned too.
Do you ever do you try to go do clubs to just find an audience that's like not yours and just kind of shock the system at all? Like, do you stop in and do time?
Yeah, I do. I went into Ice House. My friend's brother owns the place, and she's like, I'm gonna get you set up. And I got set up there, and I went there, and he popped in to see my set. She was there, a bunch of people, and it was like they hadn't even none of them had even seen me before.
Yep.
And the beauty is I've been working on this for 5 years. I've been out there doing every single weekend, sometimes every single day. And so when I got up on that stage, I crushed it. And that's not even an opinion. Like I crushed it. I brought like, I did a 15-minute set. I get to take my hour and condense it into 15, and it crushed it. I got off the stage, and the owner comes up, and he comes up and he gives me a hug. He's like, dude, anytime you want to come here, just here's the booker, tell him, and you're up. And that was like, that was such incredible validation. It was ridiculous because, of course, I hadn't done a club like that. I've been doing big venues and bigger shows than that, 300, 400 people, but not for this, 150 person room at the Ice House, one of the premier comedy clubs. So, but the catch is that, I fly back in on a Sunday or Monday. I fly out on a Thursday, and like, I could go and do a Wednesday or a Tuesday, but I'm kind of just like, establishing my presence in my house, and doing things. So I should do it. I should get out there one day that I'm home, and I will. The plan is to do that after my Boston run, because I'm basically not home for the next like month and a half, and then then at that point they're all pretty much weekends, and I'll kind of figure out what that rhythm is. But yeah, again, good, very good question. I think you guys know. It's funny because it's like I think the answers to all these in the nicest possible way. Like I think you get it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just curious because, like, when you have your audience, it's so nice, and sometimes you can get into a lull and kind of like feel like like they like me so much. I want to go to somewhere where they don't know who the hell I am at all.
What's wild is, so I used to do, when I came out, like into the first tour, I did downtown Atlanta, I did downtown Nashville, I did downtown Chicago, I did everywhere, Tampa, Orlando, everywhere was downtown, 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 so that people could come in and see me. And they did, because,
Yep.
they hadn't really seen me in like a decade. And so like all the fans came and we sold out most of the shows. But then the next year we did the exact same thing and we got like 50%. So, like I went from like averaging 223 people per show to like 140 people per show. I'm like, what is this? It was just like the general consensus is like, we saw you, we got it, we love it, thank you, but I don't need to come, and I don't know if it's a different show. And, and the first year the show was good, wasn't great. So what we started doing is rather than going to those downtowns, like if I go into Atlanta, I don't do downtown Atlanta anymore. Make people come in. I go and I do a show in Ball Ground, which is an hour to the north. I do Cumming, which is northeast. I do Fayetteville, which is to the south. I do Athens, and so I'll go in there and I'll do like 6 or 7 shows in the Atlanta area, all in the suburbs, so that people don't have to drive more than 10 minutes to come see me. And the breweries there are excited about having a stand-up, and I don't have all the competition of all the entertainment options that a downtown offers. And so now we're back to selling out because we're going to all these like small breweries.
I hope to see you when you're in Athens at Terrapin. I'm going to try to make that.
Is that where you are?
I live in Douglasville. We met in at Tucker Brewery. I think last year. I would have went to Ball Ground.
Okay.
But that's actually like an hour and a half. I'll drive an hour and a half for a cup of coffee in Ball Ground.
I'm also in Cumming.
Yeah,
this is a horrible word. Yeah, is that closer to you?
It depends how you look at it. I think it's
I know.
Both are about probably Fayetteville's the closest, but I've been to that brewery.
Okay,
I'm like you. I gotta go to the new places. Now, out of curiosity, I heard on Instagram you're kind of like Ball Ground's a weird name. Did they tell you the story, the quote unquote story of Ball Ground, where it got its name?
No, nobody knew it.
Yeah, so apparently, like Cherokee Indians had some kind of like lacrosse kind of game. They would defend their land, and they would actually like challenge other tribes of it, and that's how he got Ball Ground from it.
Oh, so maybe at one point in time, it was the Indian word for Ball Ground, and they translated or something.
Either that or white people just said this is what we're going to call it. That's the story.
That's what we're going to whitewash it. Yeah.
I was going to actually ask either one of you to pronounce the Indian word, just so, for the audience, and in case you
Coming.
I don't want it coming. This is a completely non-related story. I mean, kind of, but it's interesting. Is Yosemite was there's a tribe there, and so the white man goes there and says, like, what's the tribe name? And they're talking to each other and they're saying Yosemite. So they're like, oh, the tribe's name is Yosemite. Yosemite, the direct translation of Yosemite is they are killers. So when the Indians are pointing at each other and pointing to the white guys and going, they are killers, and like, oh, Yosemite, like, idiots.
That's
so amazing.
That's their Olympics with us playing lacrosse.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and they would destroy us, so we had to get rid of them.
Dan, I want to get to your book in just a second, but I did want to ask you one thing about your TV show years. I was curious, like, I think I discovered you in the Travel Channel whenever the reruns were. And like nowadays, there's nothing but ghost shows on the Travel Channel.
They changed it.
Those years were like Murders Row between like you and Bourdain and Zimmer and all that. There was these amazing travel shows. Do you think like your show would work today anywhere? Network, not that you would even want to do it, but do you think there's anything left or interest in what you do? And then I have a follow-up on that.
Okay, again, these are great. The short answer is yes. I think it would work.
Would you need ghosts? Would it be drinking with ghosts?
I mean, okay. So the second answer is, would I do it? The answer is yes.
Yep.
The possible follow-up to that is like, could I do it? Yeah. I mean, hangovers. Like I'm 53. I started doing that show when I was 33. I get hangovers now before I'm even done drinking. Like that's not it's not even a joke. Like
Yep.
I do. I'll get a headache. And so like, but would I do it to have a show like on a network that people would see? Yeah. If I got offered that on Travel Channel, when I do it, I'm not sure. I don't know anyone who watches Travel Channel. I don't even know,
Nope.
you know, I don't know anybody. That's terrestrial TV. Who's even watching that? Unless it has a replay on Hulu or something like that. But I I do believe that if they revived Three Sheets and did it in the right way, having fun,
Yep.
letting me set me loose and let me do my thing, I think there's a lot of networks that it would work at. I mean, look at what they'll give to like Stanley Tucci or Zac Efron or Chris Hemsworth. I mean,
Right.
those
Yeah.
guys are great, and the
Mhm.
shows they did are very good. But I bring a different kind of thing to it. I'm not a celebrity like those guys. But I'm a host. I did that for a decade, and I know how to draw out a story and how to make the program entertaining. So yeah, I think it could. And then yes, I'd have to have ghosts.
Now, the follow up to that is like we see, cannabis, weed culture like exploding everywhere. We hear that kids are drinking less and less and whatnot. Do you think like your show, like, or the idea of your show would work in like, pot culture or anything? I see. I don't know why I can't see it, but like the drinking crowd is so much different to me than the marijuana crowd. But I'm
Yeah.
curious if you think your kind of
I
show
don't
would work for them.
I don't think that at the end of the day, that the drinks, and I might be wrong, but I don't think that the drinks
Well,
were
the
what
show.
it was really about.
Mhm.
I really feel like the number one thing is the humor, the
Of course.
entertainment.
Yep.
I think the second aspect is um, the locations, going to these incredible places. And then I think that the history and the stories were a big part of it. And then I think the drinking was just like a through line. When
Yep.
people come up and say, "Oh," and they tell me about like their favorite scene, it's never about what I was drinking. It was about who I was drinking with and the
Mm.
thing that happened. And the catch is like the trick is that the drinks just made people loosen up
Yeah.
more quickly than they would if they weren't. Like we got through so many layers so much more quickly by just having a drink and having people take their guard down. And then once they did, they saw that I was a friend. I was trying to make them look good, not look bad, and then they put their trust in me. And then some amazing moments came. So I don't think I think that the weed culture, and again, I might be completely biased to this, but I think that the weed culture would appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think that they would. I think they would have a good time. I did a show called Four Sheets for a channel called Drink TV, which came out and launched on like September 1st in 2018, and then shut down on September 12th or something. Like they didn't get as many subscribers as they want. So rather than going for 2 years like they promised me, they went for 12 days. Um, but it was called Drink TV, and I always thought about that. Like I'll take your money, I'll make the show,
Yeah.
but and if you really are going to put the energy behind marketing this, then that's good for me too. But I never really thought that someone, just because you like drinks, you're going to go and subscribe to something called Drink TV. Like I'm
Mm.
not into drinks that much. Where every show I want to watch is about drinks. That's not
Right.
what's interesting about that. I consulted for a network called, it was a construction. It was a construction channel, but it wasn't uh, for a do-it-yourselfer. It wasn't a remodel. It was literally a channel made for contractors. They wanted everything high level, technical programs for contractors because there's X million numbers of contractors in the country, whatever it is. And I consulted with them, and the first thing I said is like, don't make there's a major tool company that was the money behind it. And I remember saying like, don't make this for contractors. Make this for like do it yourselfers, people that want to actually learn something. You
Mm.
think that a contractor wants to come home after a long day of contracting and watch a show about contracting?
Yeah.
You know, and like,
Yeah.
no, they want to watch football or watch a movie or watch something
Yeah.
stupid, you know?
Right. Something
So
that's
I think the
not
same thing
as
about drinks. And I kind of feel that way about the show is like, yeah, drinking was the through line, but it was the fun of it, you know, in my opinion. Again, I might be wrong, but hopefully we have the opportunity to see. I always say I wouldn't do another one. I mean, I always say I don't think I'll do another one, but
hmm
you know, all I
hmm
have to do is have one video that goes viral,
Yep.
and then the network goes, "We should give this guy a show."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you have tried probably every style of beer and drink possible. Let's
Yeah.
go back to the early days. What was like the
Yeah.
college young Zane cheap beer? I was a Red Dog guy. That was my
Uh,
go-to when it was like
you know
24 for
what?
12 bucks.
I took a strong liking to Guinness and Newcastle. Those were my beers. If I could go in and they had Newcastle, I don't know what it was. They were I would that was water to me. I'd throw those back and enjoy. And Guinness, yeah, same thing. Me and my buddy Steve McKenna, we we go to an Irish pub in the day and we leave at night. Yeah, I went to Cortland College, just an hour south of Syracuse, New York, and um, we were always told. So I went there in 1990, and we were always told that in 1987 or some 88 that it was the Playboy magazine Division Three, small school party school of the year or whatever it was. And but it was before the internet. I had no way of verifying that. But recently I was able to actually verify, like, oh wow, it actually was. I mean, my school, all we did every single night was party. It was insane. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was in the middle of nowhere. There was nothing to do.
Yeah.
So
Zane, you I've always been a fan, but also kind of jealous of because all your audiences are audiences I love. Like I love that you get to see these breweries, and I love the beer culture, and then you got to do the production side of it, and then also come out and do comedy through it. Like I think it's so smart to use your audience and be able to show them different things that you do. Um, so one, I want to thank you for coming back on. But two, I want to get into your book real quick before
yeah,
we get out of here. So this is what I
are you
mean.
talking about this? You talking about this book?
I'm talking about
Mhm.
that book right there, Glass Half Full. Um,
Yeah.
so this is another creative avenue, another creative hat for you. I'm curious, like, how hard is it for you to go from in front of the camera, in front of the audience guy, to kind of like, okay, now I gotta take all these stories and things and whatnot, and somehow make them into a book that makes sense.
But when I started writing the book, it was like even before COVID, I started working on it. During COVID, I worked on it. I should have finished it during COVID, but I didn't. I continued working on it until like 2023 when I submitted it, and then I would go back and forth with the editor for a year, and then turned in the final version April 2nd, which was my birthday of 2025, and now it comes out on April 7th. It's a long time coming,
Mhm.
and when I was writing these chapters, which when I did my last book, I think I actually happen to have here. So 3 sheets. This was
Yep.
like my last book. I had like a ghostwriter, and she would punch everything up, and we would
Mm.
talk about things. And I probably did 60% of the writing, and she came in with this one. I wrote everything. With this one, with the first one, they wanted it to be more like a guidebook rather than hearing my stories. And then in this book, I just wrote the book and then went out, and my agent was able to sell it, which was great. Simon and Schuster, I mean, they're huge, but like um the when I was writing it, there's a few interesting things. One, it was a little more emotional than I thought because everything I was writing about was things in the past, whether it was like moving out to LA or brushes with celebrities or moments with friends, and then finally getting my show 3 sheets, and then getting drinking made easy, and then this pretty much goes all the way up to like COVID. The next book is called Old Dumb, old enough to know better, dumb enough to try. When a 50-year-old guy goes out and starts trying stand up, that's the next
Oh,
one.
nice.
But with this,
Nice.
with this book, it's like every time I sat down to write a chapter, I got to like kind of go back and relive these moments. It was pretty interesting. The more I worked on it, the the more that moment in time started to like clarify itself to me as to what actually happened. I did my best to recollect it, but I also reached out to like 50 people as I was writing this book. Some people I hadn't talked to in 20 years, and like reached out, phone call. I mean, email turned into text, turned into a phone call, and like, and then talked about this moment and talked about their perspective of it, and then it kind of went away, and then I haven't really talked to them since. But it was interesting to get to relive some of these moments, and it was kind of interesting. I every time I sat down to work on a chapter, my wife would walk in the room, and I kind of like, whoa, okay, wow, I literally went back in time for a second. I completely forgot where I was.
Mm.
And then when I went and did the audio version of the book, I finished recording that last week. It was incredibly emotional. It's just like I'm a 53-year-old guy, like, and in my brain, I think of myself as 33. I always do. And so, like, when I'm reading this writing and reading these chapters, it's the last time I'm going to read this like out loud. And it's a moment in time that I captured, and it's all in the past. And it was just kind of like the reading of that. I had to stop. I had to stop a lot to be like, all right, sorry guys, and the director and the engineer of that, we spent 25 hours together, me reading that book. And they were used to it. They said, yeah, this is usually what happens. And it's in moments you don't realize. So just take a breath, and I'd try think about something else, and then I get back into it. So it was an interesting process. I liked it. It was wonderful and kind of painful and beautiful and hard. But at the end, I'm so glad that it's done and it exists.
That's awesome.
That's incredible.
If people want to check you out, like obviously you said you got the book coming out. You got, if you go up on your website, you got dates all over. You're coming to different breweries. Like, where's the best place for them to follow, and what's the thing we should look forward to soon?
I mean, everything's at zanelamprey.com. Whether you want to even get to my store, I have an apparel brand. I have my tour dates. I have all the videos, the 3 Sheets episodes. And then all the social media links are there. So like zanelamprey.com is it. And then I would say probably Instagram is like the one that I'm the most active. I mean, I'm active kind of on everything, but that's the one where there's at least consistent content every day. Also there, then YouTube, and going to YouTube, it's interesting. We can get there from my website, but you can go into YouTube, and then you can just go off in these different channels set up there, playlists, and you can just start watching every episode of 3 Sheets from the beginning, or you can watch all my animal videos or my podcast or that kind of thing.
Final question for me, as you talked about animals, we talked to Sky Falconry, which is a place out in San Diego that has hawks, and we tried to convince them to name one of their birds, Danny Glover, the verbal shenanigan falcon or hawk. Now, I understand you had a hawk at some point.
Yeah.
If you ever get another one, is there any chance we can convince you to put in that name, and also we can go down as legends?
What's the exact name of the hawk?
Danny Glover, the verbal shenanigans hawk.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
That's simple. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That just happened. Yeah, we've had I think we've had two hawks. It's wild. Once you start doing animal rescue, then then everyone who knows you're the one they call. We got a hawk, we got a fox, we got a coyote, we got a turtle, and like, yeah, we'll take them in. Never gonna say no. We're just gonna sit there and figure out what the solution to the problem is, And if I can have a hawk in my house, fuck yeah.
How do you balance that and stand up? Like, is that almost like a full-time thing with the rescue?
My wife's full-time job is running that rescue. Yeah. So it's a 501c3, it's a nonprofit, and that is what her day is. And that's it. No money comes from it. Money goes into it. But me doing the things that I do afford me to be able to do that. And then we'll get donations and stuff like that, especially when we need something. If there's a surgery that one of the animals needs or whatever. But yeah, it's where she's with one of the cats that we just took in right now. That's what we do. I don't know how I do. I don't know how I balance any of this stuff, but I somehow managed to.
You figure it out. You seem to
figure it out. Yeah,
definitely dialed it in. Zane, thank you so much for coming on again, man. It's great to talk to you, and can't wait to see you again or work with you again soon.
Yeah, likewise. As you know, anytime I'm in the area, brother, you're open to whatever you want to do.
All right.
And then, Michael, if I can send you tickets, just email me.
Right.
Zane at ZaneLamprey.com. I don't care if people know that email address. If Mark Cuban will give out his email address, I can too. But yeah, hit me at any point. I'd love to send you tickets. Have you come to the show? Have you not seen my show yet?
No, I was at the Tucker Brewing last year.
I don't know that I did a show at Tucker Brewing.
You definitely did it because I was there.
It's called Tucker?
Yeah, it's in Tucker, Georgia.
Did I really do that? Hold on.
I hope Mike saw some Zane Lamprey impersonator.
Yeah.
Who's that person I was talking to all night? No wonder he's looking all angry at me.
He's like, no wonder you look different.
Yeah, Scott, you said his production was really good.
I have never done a show in a city called Tucker.
I'm gonna have to look at which one.
I did Ball Ground, Winder, Swanee, Fayetteville, Athens, Lawrenceville, Slow Pour. Maybe that's what you're thinking of.
I definitely saw you, at least. I got the brewery wrong, but I did see you.
Yeah, so you say.
Yeah. Look at Mike.
I actually do remember a meeting, but I don't remember where it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike just lying to our guests.
I'm setting him up for a new gig. He's Googling it. Now he's going to get their email.
You know what? I'm going to reach out. I'm going to see. Wait, don't go anywhere. I don't care if you're still recording. I just want to see where Tucker, Georgia is, because I have to book a Sunday show in Atlanta. Tucker. No, okay. That's right near, like, you know if it was in Cumming, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't coming. Yeah. I'm gonna I'll look back at my notes and all. It was probably on my Facebook.
It might be Lawrenceville. Oh no, it was it was one that I just did 2 weeks ago. Hold on. My last it wasn't Winder?
Doesn't sound familiar. I haven't been to Winder.
I don't know what's going on, man. I'm trying to
keep recording.
Yeah,
we're gonna figure this out.
in our next
our 2-hour episode with Zane Lamprey.
Yeah. Next time we bring Zane back, we'll figure this mystery out, and the audience will love.
They won't be able to sleep until then. Awesome,
Zane,
guys.
take
Thank
care,
you so
man.
much. I love chatting with you guys. I appreciate it. Anytime, I'd love to come back on it and chat.
Love it, man. Thanks so much.
Definitely,
Hope to see you soon.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Take care, brother.
Cheers.